Imagine finding out that something you do every single week in your own kitchen, something you do specifically because you are trying to be practical, trying to save money, trying not to waste a single bite of food, is quietly creating the perfect conditions for a wave of dangerous bacteria and toxic compounds to enter your body, and you have no idea it is happening. Does that sound extreme? Unfortunately, it is not. There is a habit that hundreds of millions of people repeat every single week without a second thought: reheating leftovers. And the truth about what actually happens inside certain foods the second time heat touches them is something most people will go their entire lives without ever being told properly. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly which foods are the most genuinely risky to reheat, what they can chemically and biologically turn into when you press that button, and most importantly, the simple changes that protect you and your family completely. I am Dr. Leon Hayes, and I am going to tell you something today that I believe every single person who cooks at home deserves to know. Because I have spent years watching people land in emergency rooms over food they thought was perfectly safe, food they reheated exactly the way their parents taught them, and every one of those cases was avoidable. Completely avoidable. That is why I am not staying quiet. Now here is what you need to understand before we begin, and I want to be honest with you, because honesty is the whole point of this. I am not here to scare you into throwing away your leftovers. Leftovers are good. Saving food is good. The problem is never the leftover itself. The problem is the handful of specific mistakes people make in how they store and reheat certain foods. Mistakes that turn a perfectly safe meal into something that can make you genuinely sick. And the most dangerous part is that your senses cannot detect it. The food looks fine, it smells fine, it tastes fine, and that is exactly why people keep doing it. Let's start with the one that surprises people the most, because it is the most innocent-looking food in any kitchen on Earth. No strong smell, no strong flavor, and the danger hidden inside it cannot be seen, smelled, or tasted by anyone. Think about the pot of rice you made a few days ago. You made a large batch because it is simply easier that way. You have been reheating portions of it every day since. This is completely normal. Households all over the planet do exactly this. And hidden inside that rice, from the exact moment it stopped cooking and started cooling on your counter, a biological process has quietly been unfolding that most people have never once been properly warned about. I need to introduce you to a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. This organism is present in raw rice from any supermarket anywhere in the world. It is everywhere, and that is normal. Cooking your rice kills the active bacteria, but here's the part almost nobody knows. Cooking does not kill the spores. A spore is a hardened biological survival capsule that certain bacteria produce specifically to survive conditions that would otherwise destroy them. Boiling water does not destroy them. Your normal cooking temperatures cannot touch them. They sit there, dormant, inside your perfectly cooked, perfectly delicious rice, completely invisible, completely undetectable, waiting. Waiting for the temperature to drop into their ideal range, which happens to be exactly the temperature of your kitchen counter, as that rice slowly cools after cooking. The moment the temperature drops into that comfortable zone, those spores wake up. They begin to multiply, and as they multiply, they produce a toxin. Here is the detail that matters most, the part you must remember. One of the toxins they produce is heat stable. When you microwave that rice the next day, you do kill the live bacteria, yes. But the toxin they already produced while sitting on your counter, your microwave does not touch it. It survives the reheating completely intact and enters your body fully active. Think of it like this. Imagine a small factory in your basement, quietly producing a harmful chemical without your knowledge. One day you find it and shut everything down. You switch off every machine. But the barrels the factory already filled before you shut it down are still sitting there in the warehouse. Reheating your rice shuts down the factory, but the barrels are already in your bowl, and you are about to eat them. This is what causes that sudden, violent stomach illness people sometimes call fried rice syndrome. Intense vomiting, cramping, and diarrhea, often within hours. So how many days has the rice in your refrigerator been sitting there right now? 1 day? 3 days? A week? Comment the honest number below, because that number tells you a lot about the risk you may have been quietly accepting without realizing it. The fix is simple, and it works completely. Cool your cooked rice within 1 hour of cooking. Spread it out wide and shallow on a tray rather than leaving it piled deep in a hot pot. More surface area means it cools faster, which means less time for those spores to wake up and multiply. Refrigerate it promptly, Eat it within 24 hours. When you reheat it, heat it fully until it is steaming hot all the way through, then eat all of it. Do not cool it and reheat it a second time. These are not complicated rules. They are just rules most people were never taught. Now the second food. Nearly every family eats this multiple times a week, and the danger here comes from a specific feature of one very common kitchen appliance. A feature that creates invisible pockets inside your food that look perfectly safe from the outside. You made roasted chicken last night. Golden, juicy, cooked all the way through. You saved the leftovers in a container. Today at lunch, you put 2 pieces on a plate, microwave them for 2 minutes, touch the outside, feel that it is hot, and you eat. This is a completely ordinary Tuesday in millions of homes. And the exact way that reheating happened, microwave, 2 minutes, a quick touch test on the outside, is precisely where the danger lives. Here is something most people genuinely do not know. A microwave does not heat food the way an oven does. It works by exciting the water molecules inside the food to generate heat from within. But different parts of the same piece of chicken contain different amounts of water, different density, and different fat distribution. So some parts get extremely hot enough to kill any bacteria. But other parts, sometimes just a couple of centimeters away, stay at a much lower temperature. The exact temperature where bacteria not only survive but actively thrive. These are called cold spots. You cannot see them. You cannot feel them from the outside. The outside of that chicken can be almost too hot to touch, while the inside sits at the precise temperature bacteria love most. 2 bacteria make this especially serious with chicken: Salmonella and Campylobacter. Both are commonly present in raw poultry. Proper initial cooking eliminates them entirely, but recontamination after cooking is absolutely possible, through your hands, your countertop, your cutting board, or your utensils. And a cold spot inside microwave reheated chicken is a warm, moist, protein-rich environment, which is not a death zone for bacteria. It is a nursery. A real salmonella infection is not a mildly uncomfortable afternoon. It can be a serious systemic event with high fever, severe cramping, sustained vomiting and diarrhea, and for the very young, the elderly, pregnant women, or anyone with a weakened immune system, it can become genuinely dangerous and require hospitalization. So be completely honest with yourself right now. When you reheat chicken, do you actually verify that it is steaming hot all the way through the thickest part? Or do you touch the outside, feel that it is warm, and just assume the inside matches? That gap between assumption and reality is exactly where the risk hides. The fix. Whenever you can, use your oven, around 175 degrees Celsius, covered tightly with foil, for 15 to 20 minutes. That trapped, moist heat reaches every part of the chicken evenly, leaving no cold spots anywhere. If you must use the microwave, cut the chicken into small, uniform pieces, use medium power rather than maximum, stop halfway through to stir and rearrange everything, and then let it rest covered for 2 full minutes after heating so the heat distributes evenly. Or simply eat it cold. Cold, properly stored, fully cooked chicken shredded into a salad or sandwich is delicious and eliminates the cold spot problem entirely. Now the third one, and this is the food I think will genuinely surprise you, because the entire health and wellness world has spent the last 20 years telling you to eat more of it. Think about those crispy golden fries left over from last night, the ones you covered and promised yourself you would finish today. That fried chicken you carefully wrapped in foil because tossing it felt wasteful. Those leftover spring rolls in the corner of your fridge. What do you do the next day? Most people either microwave them, which leaves them sad and soggy, or, far worse, they heat a little fresh oil in a pan to crisp them back up. And it is precisely at that moment, when oil is repeatedly heated, that a real chemical change begins. Here is the part almost nobody explains clearly. The common cooking oils most people keep on their shelf, like sunflower oil, corn oil, and soybean oil, are relatively unstable under repeated high heat. When oil is heated again and again, especially past its smoke point, it undergoes oxidative breakdown, and that process generates a group of compounds including aldehydes, along with other byproducts you genuinely do not want to be consuming regularly. You do not need to memorize the chemical names, you just need to understand the principle. Reusing and reheating the same oil over and over, or frying already fried food again in fresh oil, degrades that oil and produces compounds linked in research to inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. Chronic, repeated exposure is the concern here, not one single meal. Now I want to be straight with you, because that is the whole reason you are still watching. One plate of reheated fries is not going to harm you. Your body is resilient. The issue is the pattern. Eating repeatedly refried food, several times a week, for years, keeps loading your system with these oxidized compounds. And over a long enough time, that pattern contributes to the kind of chronic, low-grade inflammation that no one wants running in the background of their body for decades. So stop right now and think honestly. How many times this week did you refry or reheat something fried? Comment that number below, because the honesty of that number is the first real step. The fix is easy. Never refry already fried food in oil, not fresh oil, not the old oil. Instead, reheat it using dry heat, a hot oven at around 180 degrees, or an air fryer. Dry heat brings the crispiness back beautifully without adding any new oxidized oil. And when you do fry from fresh, treat that frying oil as single use. Fry today and discard it today, rather than keeping a dark, used bottle to fry with again and again. That one habit alone makes a real difference. Now the fourth food, and this one catches people off guard because it feels like the safest, healthiest choice on the entire plate. Cooked leafy greens. Picture a Sunday evening. You sauté a beautiful pan of spinach with a little garlic and olive oil, deep green, perfectly wilted. You feel genuinely good about yourself, and you should, because eating your greens is a wonderful thing. You put the leftovers in the fridge. Monday lunch, you take them out and microwave them. And here is the honest, balanced truth, because I will not exaggerate this for you. The real concern with cooked leafy greens is not some dramatic poison. It is far more practical. Cooked greens, like spinach and other vegetables, are a favorable environment for bacterial growth once they have been cooked and left sitting, especially if they cool slowly or sit at room temperature. Reheating poorly stored cooked greens can lead to the same kind of foodborne illness we have been discussing. There is also a chemistry point worth knowing, told accurately. Leafy greens naturally contain nitrates, which are harmless on their own. When cooked greens sit for a long time, particularly at unsafe temperatures, bacteria can gradually convert some nitrates into nitrites. This is mostly a reason to store and reheat properly, rather than a reason to panic. And it matters far more for infants than for healthy adults. The practical takeaway is the same either way. Do not let cooked greens sit out. Do not reheat them repeatedly, and store them cold and promptly. So how many times this week did you cook a batch of greens and then leave them out for hours before refrigerating? Comment the honest number, because most people do this completely innocently. The fix. Eat your cooked greens cold whenever you can, tossed into a grain bowl, folded into a wrap, or added to a salad. The nutrients are still there. If you want them warm, ideally cook only what you will eat in that meal. Refrigerate any extra quickly, and reheat only once, fully hot, and then finish it. Do not reheat the same greens again and again across the week. Now we reach the fifth and final food, and this one is interesting because the concern here is genuinely twofold. Two separate things happening in the same humble dish. Think about those roasted potatoes from last Sunday. Golden and crispy outside, fluffy inside. You made a whole tray. Monday evening, you take them out and crisp them back up in a pan with a little oil. And there are two honest things worth knowing here. The first involves a compound called acrylamide. Acrylamide forms naturally when starchy foods are cooked at high temperatures, above roughly 120 degrees Celsius, which is the same process that gives potatoes their golden, crispy color. Research bodies classify acrylamide as a probable human carcinogen based largely on high-dose animal studies. And food safety agencies do recommend keeping dietary acrylamide reasonably low as a sensible precaution. The practical point is straightforward. Cooking potatoes until very dark or repeatedly crisping them at high heat increases acrylamide. So aiming for golden rather than deep brown, and not re-crisping potatoes aggressively, is simply a smart, easy precaution. I want to be measured here, not alarmist. This is about sensible long-term habits, not a single dinner. The second point is actually a lovely one, and it is good news. When potatoes are cooked and then fully cooled in the refrigerator, some of their starch converts into what is called resistant starch. Resistant starch is genuinely beneficial. It is gentler on your blood sugar, and it feeds the helpful bacteria in your gut. So a cold-cooked potato is, in a real sense, a friendlier food for your body than a piping hot one. That is a wonderful reason to enjoy potatoes cold. So how many times this week did you reheat potatoes at high heat? Comment the honest number below. The fix. Whenever you can, enjoy your cooked potatoes cold, in a potato salad with good olive oil, a little vinegar, and fresh herbs. It is delicious, and you keep all that beneficial resistant starch. When you do want them warm, reheat them gently rather than blasting them at high heat or deep refrying them, and aim for golden rather than dark and over-crisped. We have now gone through all 5. And before you close this video, I need to tell you the thing that matters more than any single fact I have shared today. Please do not walk away from this afraid of your own kitchen. That is the opposite of my intention. Leftovers are not the enemy. Saving food is a good and responsible thing to do. The entire message today is simply this: a small handful of practical habits. Store food quickly, cool it fast, reheat it fully and only once, and use gentle heat where it matters. Removes almost all of the genuine risk we discussed. That is it. The power has been in your hands the entire time. You just needed someone to actually explain it clearly. And if you have been doing some of these things the wrong way for years, please do not feel guilty. The human body is remarkably resilient. These are not life sentences. They are simply better choices you can start making from tonight onward. Every good habit you build from this moment counts. So when you open that refrigerator tonight, remember: rice. Cool it fast within the hour, eat it within a day, reheat fully and once. Chicken. Use the oven or make sure it is steaming hot all the way through, or eat it cold. Fried food. Crisp it dry in an oven or air fryer, never refry in oil. Leafy greens. Store and reheat them properly or enjoy them cold. Potatoes. Go gentle on the heat, aim for golden, not dark, and enjoy them cold whenever you can. Small habits, practiced consistently, protect the people you love. I am Dr. Leon Hayes. If this gave you something genuinely useful today, think of one person in your life who reheats rice every single day and has never once heard any of this explained properly. Your mother, your partner, your closest friend. Send them this video right now, not tomorrow, right now. It takes 10 seconds, and it might save them a truly miserable week, or worse. Take good care of yourselves, look after one another, and I will see you in the next one.